Today I'll be showing you everything you need to know before buying a Radon Swoop 9.0.
Hiyo, how are y'all doing? I mean, today I'm gonna do a bit of a different video. This is not gonna be one of those action-packed videos I always do. This is gonna be the 1-year review of my Radon Swoop 9.0. I mean, you guys have been asking me a whole lot of questions, both on Instagram, on Facebook, on the comments of the YouTube, and I feel compelled to do a review of this bike after using it for roughly a year. Now, I just got myself a good couple of notes because I have a lot of things to say about this bike. I mean, I've used it for a year. I love the bike. I'm in love with the bike. And well, to start with, this is not a sponsored review in any kind of way. This is my bike. I bought it with my own money. I chose to do it, and nobody's gonna sponsor me for this video. So this is gonna be the most amount of truth I can just put into this. Everything I like and I don't like, it's gonna be said in it. So why did I choose this Radon Swoop 9.0 in the first hand? Well, I tend to switch my bikes from 1 to 2 years, because 2 years with a bike is enough to start getting a lot of maintenance in. So I tend to sell the bike, they haven't lost too much value, and I buy a brand new one, so I'd have no problems for at least a year. Or something like that, because you all have problems. You break things on the bike, and it happens in any bike, even in a Santa Cruz, a 12,000 euro Santa Cruz, it happens. So this bike, I bought it because first it was pretty. It's a white bike. I always wanted a white bike. This one is pretty. And the price. I mean, I feel compelled to say this, but the price on this is absurd. You can't have better value for buck than this Radon Swoop. I mean, Canyon used to do it, but now they just raised the prices, and this thing is just insane. This bike came entirely assembled in the box, which means normally it comes on a smaller box, a cardboard box, and you have to assemble at least the wheels into the derailleur. This one came fully into the box. It's a huge box, comes to your door, and you just take it out, put some air for your weight in the suspensions, both tires, check a mounting pressure, and you're good to go ride. I mean, that's one of the most easiest out-of-the-box solutions I've ever seen. Even though it's a huge box and it doesn't fit anywhere, it's a good solution. In terms of the frame, I mean, I'm not much of a geek. This is a 29-inch bike, has a good ratio on the head angle. The angle is good, I think it's 63. I don't really remember all the things. The length in between wheels is cool. It's a very agile bike, but for those of you who are geeks, take it on. There you go. You have a chart, look at the numbers, have fun with it. I don't really know everything out of my head right now. So, I mean, comparing this with the Mondraker and the Canyon Torque I used to have, the Canyon Torque was 27.5, the Mondraker was 29-inch wheel, and this one, I just gotta say, it's a lot more agile, it's free ride looking towards things, not really meant to race downhill. This is an enduro bike. I would call it actually a free ride bike. It works very well for that. Now, one thing I can't stop to not look at it's the color. This is the Manly Gray color. It's a sort of white, kind of grayish, and I've got to say it's the most prettiest bike I've ever had in my life. Now, it doesn't have a bottle holder, which might be a throwback for some people. For me, it's not, because I always use the camel bike. I go with cameras from here to there, always take the drone and the GoPros, and I kind of need to take the camel bike, so not having a bottle holder, it's not much of a problem for me. Maybe it is for you. You might have to check it out. The front triangle of the bike is carbon and the rear end is aluminium, which is good because you normally hit the back of the bike a lot more than you hit the front triangle, and the front triangle kind of makes the bike a little lighter, and the back makes it stiffer because if you hit sideways things on carbon, it often breaks, or sort of that. I like it to be half aluminium at the back and half carbon at the front. I think it's a good mix. In terms of sizing, I am 170 centimeters tall, and this is an M size. It fits me like a glove. It's insanely good. The Mondraker I had was an M size, but Mondraker sizes are too big. So the bike ended up being a bit too much of a boat for me. This one just fits me super well. And for those of you who don't know, 170 meters tall in inches, there you go, I think it's 5'6", I believe. In terms of Competence here, there's not much to know. It's a RockShox Zeeb Select up the front, 38 mils tensions, it works like butter. I got a couple of tokens made to the front. My mechanic has a 3D printer. He made both tokens to the RockShox Zeev and the RockShox Super Deluxe Select Plus, which is the shock. It's working perfectly. I mean, I fine-tuned it. You can't really fine-tune too much because you only have the rebound and the air and a bit of low-speed compression on the Zeev. But, you know, made a couple of tokens. The suspension is working perfectly. Now, the drivetrain, what can I say? It's a SRAM GX. It doesn't break, doesn't give me problems. It's sort of cheap to replace if you hit it on a rock. I like it, you know? Then the only thing I changed to the bike when it came out of the box was the tires and the grips. I really have first of all, it came with some Schwalbe, which one was it? The Schwalbe Magic Mary tires. I think that was it, yeah, the Schwalbe Magic Mary, the soft version. And I hate Schwalbe, I don't know why. I've tried it many times, I don't think the rubber is soft enough. Maybe it's just my opinion, but I don't really like it. So I switched them from some Continentals, the Grip Total. They just work very, very fine. Now, also the grips. The grips, I can't ride any bike that does not have that grips, the DMR that grips. I ride gloveless. I have a very special feeling for how I grip the bars, and you know, I had to check. This is personal preference, nothing to have to do with the bike, but anyways. Another thing is the brakes. I mean, they have a superb amount of power. They are the Magura MT5s. I know you also have the MT7s. Don't really know what changes between MT5s and MT7s, but these MT5s have a huge amount of power. I recently changed the organic pads that came from the bike, changed it for some golfer ones. They, well, I don't know, they don't really do noise because the original pads of Magura, they kind of shake inside the caliper. These ones from Golfer, they work just smooth, they add a little bit more power. They are the sinterized ones, the semi-metallic. They work so well, I have nothing to complain about that. Then the wheels are Sunringle Duroc SD37, they 32 mils wide, 29 inch. I don't know, I use tubeless, I don't have inserts or any kind of Cushcore or stuff, and it hasn't given me problems yet, so yeah, good wheels. It doesn't climb the best, let's be honest. I had the Mondraker, the Super Foxy, and that had a Fox, which wasn't Fox DPX2 on the back, and it locked fully. This Super Deluxe doesn't really lock the shock, it's kind of a preload. The Mondraker really climbed very well. And this one doesn't really climb well, but I don't think this is really a bike meant for doing long climbs. I do enduro, and I also do freeride, and I prefer to give away the climbing abilities than giving away the descending abilities, so that's not a minus for me. This is the most agile, both on the terrain and in the air bike 29er I've ever experienced. I had the Canyon Torque, was, I don't know, was a little bit of a boat. It ate up everything too much, was not too responsive. Then the Mondraker was too responsive, but it was too big, so I couldn't turn and stuff, and every time I was on the air, I think the Mondraker was pushing me down to go back to the ground. This one lets me fly, lets me do turns as I want. It's just insanely good. Agility, 10 out of 10 of this bike. Then high speed stability. It's good. It's not, in terms of wheel size, wheelbase, it's not too long, isn't the most stable, but I don't really ride trails on which you need like very high speeds like you're doing downhill. When you do downhill racing, you have very wide trails and you're going fast speeds down it. I don't usually ride that, but it's stable enough for me. Not too stable, but stable enough, I would say. By the way, this is absolutely not a sponsored review. This is absolutely non-biased. Nobody paid me anything. I paid full price for this bike. I had no discounts. And the only thing that promotes this channel is my clothing brand, hecticclothing.com. If you head on over to the website and use the code HECTIC30, you get 30% off the whole website on your first purchase. We have t-shirts, we have riding jerseys, they're breathable, they're high quality material. But anyways, besides that, this is a not biased review. And let me tell you, After a year, what do I like about this bike and what's trash about the bike? So starting with the highlights, it's the price. At the moment, you can buy this exact bike on bike discount, because that's the only place they sell these things, for 2,000 euros. Where the hell in the world do you find a bike with these components that rides as well as this, with half a carbon frame, for 2,000 euros? You don't find it. You can sell your bike, buy this one, and still make profit from the exchange. So what are you waiting? Second thing, I love the color. This is not white. This is a manly gray is what they call it. It's a mix between gray and white. It just looks superb. I don't know, the next bike I'll buy, I don't know if I can get a better looking bike than this. I just love the color, love the geometry, love everything. Then highlights number 3, it's a highlight if you do it. For me, it's good. It's the free ride capabilities. We rode an entire week of bike park in Morzine in France, in the French Alps, and this bike worked like, I wouldn't say like a DH bike, because we didn't do very technical and steep descents, but in terms of jumps, you can do big jumps with this. It's stable, it's good in the air, it feels good, it has enough of a wheelbase and enough suspension to support you on those downhill descents. You know, it's a free ride bike, I'd say, that also climbs. It doesn't climb badly. I mean, I had bikes that climb better than this, but for the agility and the type of terrain you can ride downhill, I think you can compromise on the climbs. Now let's get to the few bad things about this bike. So one of the things is the headset is This is an Acros Angle Set ZS44, and this is the worst headset I've ever had. It's full plastic. Every time you hit a little bit of dirt or a little bit of mud, it starts to creak all over the place. It happened to me on the bike park, if you saw the video. We rode for 4 days, and on the 4th day, I had serviced the bike before going to the bike park, and even then, it started to creak from the headset. First thing I'm gonna do, probably next week, is pick this plastic headset, which I've been using for a year, put it to the trash and buy a real headset. That's one of the bad things. Another one is the paint quality. It's the most beautiful color I've ever had on a bike in my life, but the paint kind of chips off. It's not too visible, but you have a couple of places where little rocks hit, and usually you have a bit of a scratch, but here the paint really nicks off, you know? It's kind of holes that stay in the frame. Not too good. Maybe a malfunction with my frame. I never sent it to warranty because I don't really care about those nicks. You can't really see them. But if you're a picky dude, the paint job ain't too good. Who's this bike for? Who's this bike for? That's an interesting question. If you're into free ride and also need to pedal, which means you're not just gonna do downhill, this is an awesome bike for that. Descending, if you love jumps, you love to do hit turns fast and have an agile bike, compromise a little bit on the fast straights, but agile on jumps and free rides and do maneuvers and stuff, this is the bike for you. If you end up the free ride trail and need to go back up, this will do more than the job. I do enduro races on this, and it works fine. It works more than fine. Long rides, I don't know, but free ride, perfect. Now, it's also one of the, if not the cheapest bikes, value to quality, you can find in the market. I believe Canyon used to do it, but now they've gained some fame and it's more expensive. This is just insane. I mean, 2,000 euros for this piece of equipment. I can assure you, you can't find better. You can't find better value for buck. Come on. And well, I think that's it. I said everything I just personally gathered in between this year of use of this bike. I'm still probably going to use it another year and then probably change it to another brand or even continue on Radon. I don't know. Time will tell. But if you guys enjoyed the video, comment down below. If you have a Radon, which I normally go ride outside and people look at me strange like, wow, what bike's that? What's that? What's that? Is that a Radon? I once saw it on the website. Huh? It's not a common bike to see out on the trails. Maybe in Germany it is because it's a German brand. But here in Portugal, people are like, oh, Radon, what the hell's that? I went to the bike park and people were like, oh man, can I take a picture? Because I want to send my wife. Because she tells me Radons do not ride in bike parks. And the guy took a picture with me just because of the bike. But anyways, just personal experience. If you guys liked the video, leave your comments down below. Maybe you're going to be the next buyer of a Radon like this. I truly advise you to go check out their website because this is good. This is a good bike. besides the paint thing and one or two more other things, it's a good bike. So on that note, I hope that clarifies all your doubts, and I hope I don't have to clarify anything else over on the DMs on Instagram and here on YouTube. So on that note, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.